Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Off-Road. We're just out in the TJ having a nice drive. Gorgeous April afternoon. Wanted to bring you guys a little video about 5 things that I actually regret about building this TJ. So let's get back to the house, park the Jeep, and get into it. Really quickly, first off, wanted to mention that we've got some decals printed. I'm not sure if you can see these well or not. Everyday Off-Road YouTube decals. Got one that's got the YouTube logo with the word YouTube under it, same font on the channel name. We've got a second one we made with just the YouTube logo and same font and everything. So we also printed the windshield banners, and they came out really good. I'm really impressed with the windshield banners. I'm not sure if we're going to mass produce these or not. I don't know how many people would be interested in running the windshield banner. I really just printed this one and one more kind of as a prototype. Came out really well. I think it looks good on the Jeep. So I don't know, drop a comment if you'd be interested in a windshield banner as well. And if you're interested in these, like I said before, we are going to be printing several more of these. So you pay shipping, I'll send it to you for free, slap it on your Jeep, represent the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. All right, so now it's for what today's video is actually about, the top 5 things that I regret while building this TJ. So these are going to be things, some of them are nitpicky, some of them are a big deal. I really am making this video so for you guys at home wanting to build a TJ similar to this or even bigger, just some things to think about before you jump into the initial build process. Without further ado, number 1, by far the biggest thing, get the Dana 44 rear axle. Some of the TJs came factory with the Dana 44. We opted to get the Dana 35 just because we liked the rest of the Jeep. So that's just what was in it. The Jeep was in really good shape, had around the mileage I want. It was the price point I needed, and really liked the color, liked everything about it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even think about the rear axle. Just having purchased a new 44 to go in the Jeep, I can say to you guys that it's very expensive to swap that out. For those of you fairly new to Jeeps and TJs in general, one of the main ways you can tell if the Jeep has the Dana 44 versus the 35 is we've got a 35, and as you can see, the cover is pretty much oval. It's a circular oval type shape, whereas the Dana 44, I call it more of a square shape. It kind of comes down that side, drops low, comes back up, and makes a 90-degree bend. It's just a very different look. But if you just look for the oval, that'll tell you if it has a Dana 35 axle. And as we've discussed in prior videos, the Dana 35 has a pretty poor reputation. We've beefed ours up and it's lasted thus far. But with wanting to go to 37-inch tires, I really do not recommend keeping the Dana 35. A lot of people say I'm pushing it on 35s with the Dana 35. And I have shattered a set of spider gears, but I've never broken a shaft or anything. So that's just a telltale sign of the Dana 35. Just look for the oval shaped diff cover. All right, item number 2 that I regret while building this Jeep. We should have gone with a long arm suspension setup on this Jeep. There's several videos on YouTube explaining a short arm versus a long arm. Dirt Lifestyle has a really good video explaining the difference. But it turns out with what we use this Jeep for off-road, a long arm would have fit our needs much better. Here we have our short arm Rubicon Express suspension. It's called a short arm because on the frame side here, you retain the factory mounting location and mounting bracket. And then there's your axle side connection. This arm is very short for having a 4.5-inch lift on the Jeep. And what that does is cause this arm to be in an extreme downward angle. If you cut this bracket off, install a long arm kit, that arm is going to, instead of mounting here on the frame, they move it back to right in here, usually around the front of the belly pan. So that arm is going to be about twice the length, if not more, allowing that angle to be much flatter, much happier. It gives you a better ride on the road. It allows you to crawl up over rocks and obstacles off-road a lot easier. And it's just all around better, especially for, like I said, the type of wheeling we do, which is a lot of rock crawling. On a long arm kit, it'll come with a new belly pan, and it's got integrated brackets into the front and the rear for you to mount your new arms into. The upper arm will actually, you'll retain your upper, and it'll rotate down and attach to the lower arm somewhere in here. So really you're lengthening your lower arms, thus giving a lot happier of a suspension angle. Same thing with the rear. You can see how short those arms are, which works fine for a factory design and factory suspension, but for a pretty good sized lift, it starts giving extreme angles. And while it performs well, I'm overall happy with it. If I could do it over again, which is what this video is really about, I would definitely go with a long arm setup. All right, number 3 for things I regret about building this Jeep. We should have gone with 488s or 513 gears versus 456. We do not have enough gearing off-road. We thought we did when we were doing some mild introductory wheeling type stuff, cruising around Stony Lonesome on the intermediate trails. This thing works awesome. Now that we've gotten into a little bit more of the hardcore rock crawling like Hawk Pride and Windrock and things like that, we found that we are really lacking in gearing. I wish that we would have done different gears in both axles when we initially built the Jeep. Thankfully, with the new rear axle on the way, we ordered it with 488s, which will help a little bit. And then we will obviously be re-gearing the front to match. So we're about to have 488s. I just wish I would have done it initially, because being honest with you guys, she struggles a little bit, especially being the 5-speed. If I'm trying to bump up over a good ledge or something, I'm really having to ride the clutch with this thing, even on the 35s. So we're gonna see how 37s go. And I have a good feeling that we'll be saving up for a 2-speed or 4-speed Atlas in the near future to help with the gear ratio. There's actually a ton of controversy on gear ratios with different tire size combinations and everything. 35s and 456s is actually a really good ratio. The thing is, for the road is what they mean. The 456s really take you with a 4-liter TJ on 35s. It takes you back to a factory feel, which is what a lot of people want and really the purpose of re-gearing. But when you re-gear for off-road use, it's a little bit different story. I really wish we would have gone with some higher numerical gears such as 488 or 513. Also, peep the new decal. I think it looks pretty good. May order some in black. I think black may go better on the build. Also, if you watch the Hawk Pride video, we've got some good scrapes on the barricade rockers now. Got that little one here, and then obviously pinched our front grill in here a little bit, which is really the only disappointing part. Just a little up close of the new windshield banners. I like everything about it. I think the font came out really good. I think the size is good. Great quality decal, went on easy. Really pleased. All right, thing number 4 that we regret about our Jeep build: not getting beadlock wheels. If you don't know what a beadlock wheel does, this really imitates a beadlock wheel, and a beadlock wheel has these bolts that run actually into the sidewall of the tire to hold the tire onto the lip of the wheel to prevent it slipping off when you're running, 10, 12 pounds of air or less. This wheel is just typical mounting. These are just fake studs. There's nothing actually being held on here. And on a beadlock, this rim actually pinches onto that tire, and these screw into it to hold it in place. So you have a really firm seal, and you can run, like I said, 8, 10 pounds of air easily and not worry about popping a bead. I really love our methods. I think they look really, really clean, look good. And I've aired down to 11, 12 pounds and never had a problem. But if I could go back and do it again, I would just start with bead locks. When we get 37s, we're gonna go to bead locks and probably stick with the Nitto Trail Grappler, just a 37 by 1250 version. But yeah, that's definitely one thing that I would do over again and just get bead locks from the get-go. They are about double the price, which is why I did not initially get them. And again, the type of wheeling we did when I first built this thing, we really didn't need bead locks. It was a little bit overkill. But now that we've gotten into more of the rough terrain, running against really jagged rocks, as y'all probably saw at Hawk Pride, bead locks will be really nice to have. Method actually makes this wheel in a bead lock. This is the 305. The bead lock version is the 105. It looks identical, just a little bit different offset, and it's got the bead lock rim on it. We're definitely leaning towards sticking with methods and just getting those. There's a few other wheels that catch my eye, but this just looks so good on the Jeep. It'd be hard to leave the methods. Number 5, and the final thing that I regret when initially picking this Jeep out and building it: do not be too picky with the Jeep. I saw several, I went to see some nice TJs, and every single one of them had its things. You know, they're 20-year-old vehicles, they're not going to be perfect. This one turned out to be in really good shape, so I'm happy. But at the same time, I was looking for one that did not have a rear main seal leak. I was looking for one that did not have any leaks really, or squeaks, or weird noises, or the air didn't work, or anything like that. Well, since we've gotten ours here, the air has gone out. We've developed a rear main seal leak. We've had some transmission leaks. I've had to put a clutch in it, and just several more things that I really was hoping not to get into when purchasing one. So my point being, you're not going to find a 20-year-old TJ that's just flawless. I mean, I guess there are some out there, but even those have probably been worked on some. I was extremely picky when looking for the TJ that I wanted to build and hopefully keep for a good bit or the rest of my life. So, I mean, that's understandable. But what I'm trying to get across in this video is that if it does not have a problem when you first see the vehicle, you're gonna develop one. So don't just think too hard on it. I made a video on things to watch for when buying a TJ. Really the main thing that you need to be careful of is rust. And thankfully we got one that rust is not an issue. This is a Georgia Jeep. It was made in Georgia. It stayed in Georgia with both previous owners. So as long as you're good there, don't be too picky when driving one. If it's pouring oil, yeah, don't buy it. But if it's got a little dab right there on the bottom of the trans, probably 90% of these are gonna have that. So don't nitpick too hard. Get a Jeep you like, get a color you like, check for frame rust, and just move on with it. You're gonna be fixing it whether it's happening when you purchase the Jeep or not. Little side note, I didn't make a video on installation, but check this spiderweb shade out. I think it looks really good in here. I'm hoping to keep the top off during summer and just run this. It's supposed to keep a lot of the heat out while also kind of maintaining that somewhat open feel of having no roof. I didn't shoot any video on installation because it's very easy. It's literally just these little elastic bands here that hold it on. There's about 8 of them, maybe 4 per side. Hope you guys enjoyed hearing the 5 things that I regret about building this Jeep. Obviously, I'm nitpicking the heck out of this stuff. A lot of this stuff we're changing anyway soon. The Dana 44 is on the way. We're re-gearing. I'm gonna do the Rusty's long arm conversion at some point. We're doing 37s and bead locks. So I'm being very nitpicky here. Obviously, we love this Jeep. It's the basis of this whole channel. We love going wheeling, we love talking TJs, we love just riding on the street. About to do that right now. It's a gorgeous April day outside. Got the spiderweb shade on, no top. Gonna go run it for a little bit. Just have fun with it, guys. That's what it's all about. Thanks again for watching Everyday Off-Road. Y'all have a good one.